I watched Jane die. I could have saved her, but I didn't.
Hey everybody, and thank you for watching another video. My name is Merge, and when it comes to tragic characters in the Breaking Bad universe, Jesse Pinkman has got to be a part of the conversation. Whether it's taking a beating, losing a girlfriend, or literal slavery, it's not too much that he hasn't been through, and out of everybody in the series, he may be the only one who have actually gotten away with it.
Yeah, bitch!
But out of all the things that he's endured, nothing could have been more traumatic than him being forced to watch Todd kill Andrea. And in this video, I wanted to give my take on how the conversation between Jack and Jesse went, along with events leading up to Todd pulling the trigger. So think of it more of like a deleted scene from the series, if anything. But before we get started, if you could leave a like on this video to support the channel, I'd appreciate it. Now, let's get into it. Todd gives Jesse some ice cream as a reward for him cooking a batch that was 96% pure. And Jesse mumbles his gratitude saying, "Thanks," as he slowly eats. And after some awkward silence between the two as they look at each other, Todd would close the cage and wish Jesse a good night. But Jesse speaks up asking Todd if he can keep the tarp off so he can look at the stars. And after some consideration, Todd blows out the cigarette smoke before simply saying, "Sure thing, Jesse. Good night." And once the coast was clear, Jesse was able to quickly pick the locks of his cuffs and shackles, and with a leap of faith, he's able to grab the bars of his cage. And he struggles for a moment with the latch, but eventually he's able to free himself. And he makes a run for it, going as fast as he can, with the only thing being in his way is a 15-foot chain link fence. And being so close to his freedom, he starts to climb, nearly making it to the top. But his heart drops when he hears the sound of dogs barking and footsteps behind him, causing him to climb back down. And once he makes it to the ground, he looks back only able to see a group of familiar looking silhouettes holding flashlights and dog leashes. And Jesse, being so fed up with his captivity, he yells saying,
"Just kill me now and get it over with, because there's no way I'm doing one more cook for you psycho fucks!"
And he stands tall awaiting a bullet any second. But instead of being killed, he'd be surrounded and beat up by Kenny and the gang while Jack and Todd talk and watch. And Jack tells him while smoking a cigarette, "I know you got things going on with this Lydia woman, but this rat's starting to become more trouble than he's worth. I'm sorry, but he's gotta go," Jack says, drawing his gun. And as the guys hold Jesse to the ground, now beaten and bloody, Jack approaches him ready to put a bullet in his head. But Todd intervenes, getting between Jack and Jesse, saying, "Uncle Jack, wait. What if I can promise you that he won't ever run again?" "What, you gonna shoot him in the kneecaps or something?" Jack says jokingly as the gang begins to laugh around him. And Todd says, looking down at Jesse, then back up at Jack, "Not exactly, but we would need to take a ride back into town." And Jesse lies on the ground, barely conscious and extremely confused as to why Todd is going out of his way to save him, especially considering their history together.
You guys didn't tell me this stuff smells like cat piss.
But Jack will put his gun away and then he'd ask Todd, "So what you had in mind?" And Todd says nothing as he pulls out his own copy of the photo of Andrea and Brock from his pocket, and he shows it to Jack, putting a smile on his uncle's face. And I know there's no way to know this for sure, but a spare family photo of Jesse's loved one is something that I feel that Todd would have on him, like in his wallet or something. Because just going by his track record, he always seems to keep a souvenir of those closest to him. He has Drew Sharp's tarantula, Lydia's teacup, which he's probably never going to wash again, and somewhere between the spider and the teacup would be that picture, but that's just me. But from Jesse's point of view, when he sees Jack smile, he just prepares himself to be tortured again, unaware of what Todd's plan could actually be. And so as they gag and handcuff Jesse, he's put in the truck with Jack, Todd, Kenny, and whoever else could fit, and they all go for a ride back into town. After nearly 40 minutes of driving, Jesse starts to recognize the area that they're in and what Todd's plan is, and he tries to talk but nobody's understanding him with the gag in his mouth, and Kenny says, "Hey, be quiet back there." But Jesse gets louder with his muffled noises, doing his best to call the whole thing off, but all that does is get Jesse another beating for not listening, even at one point having Jack hand Kenny a cigarette to put out on Jesse's face, causing him to scream out in pain. "Are you gonna shut up now?" Jack says, looking in the rearview mirror, and although being in excruciating pain, Jesse does calm down after that. And after a couple more minutes, they finally make it to their destination, putting the car in park, and Jesse looks up seeing that they're right across the street from Andrea's house, causing his heart to beat faster and faster, hoping that this is just a threat. But when Jack looks back, he tells Todd, "You got the silencer, right, Todd? You don't want to wake up the whole neighborhood." "Yeah, Uncle Jack, I got it," Todd says in response with a smirk as he gets out the car. And Jesse once again starts back up with the muffled sounds as the car door closes, and he's forced to watch Todd approach Andrea's house. And when he knocks on the door, Jesse's heart begins to beat out of his chest as he sees Andrea step out the house. And at this moment, he's screaming at the top of his lungs and using his head as a battering ram against a window, but it's all for nothing as no sound is coming out of the SUV. And he watches on as Andrea steps off her front porch, and he thinks that he's gotten her attention with her looking in his direction, but while her back is turned on Todd, in a sudden moment, there's a pop and then a puff of smoke as Andrea's body would drop to the floor. And when Todd gets back into the truck, Jesse, who's just pure emotion right now, loses it, screaming through his gag and even trying to hit Todd with his body. But Jack puts him in his place real quick when he brings up the fact that the little boy's still alive.
Remember, you're still a kid.
So as the gang makes it back home, Jesse sits in a quiet slump crying but not making a sound, with the blood mixing with his tears. And when they finally arrive at the compound, Jack parks the car and turns around in his seat, telling Jesse, "Now you listen to me, if you pull some shit like this again, I guarantee you the little boy will get it way worse. You understand me?" And Jesse says nothing as he looks down at his lap, but Jack doesn't like to ask twice as he punches Jesse in the mouth, saying, "You answer me when I'm talking to you." And Jesse, who's now bleeding from his mouth, nods without looking up as the blood drools in his lap. And as the gang gets out of the car, Todd speaks up on Jesse's behalf, saying, "Uncle Jack, you think maybe I can just get him back in his cage and I'll have him ready for the bash tomorrow?" And Jack agrees, telling him, "Yeah, go ahead, and tomorrow, make sure you call your welder friend and put a lock on that cage of his." And Kenny jumps in saying, "Who, Neil? Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and give him a call first thing in the morning."
Tried to rabbit on us once already.
You kidding me? Him?
And with that, Jack, Kenny, and the rest of the gang go back to the clubhouse while Todd brings Jesse back to his cage. And he tries to explain why he had to do what he had to do, saying, "I'm really sorry, Jesse, but if you want, maybe I could bring you some more of that ice cream?" And Jesse, while sniffling, looks up at Todd and shakes his head no as he climbs down the ladder into his cage. And Todd nonchalantly says, "Well, make sure you get plenty of sleep. Got a big day tomorrow. Whole new batch." And before Todd leaves, he puts the tarp back over the cage, leaving Jesse in the dark alone with his thoughts, and how Brock would react to discovering his mom's dead body when he wakes up, which is a thought that consumes Jesse with guilt as he makes a promise to himself that for the safety of Brock, he's never gonna run again, and he comes to grips with the fact that for him, this is it. Hey guys, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed another edition to the Heisenverse. And with this one, I really wanted to paint the saddest possible picture to really put you inside the mind of Jesse, because can you imagine how helpless he had to feel when he was held captive, to be completely deprived of hope? And as we've seen in El Camino, even when he had Todd basically at gunpoint, he still couldn't go through with it.
What kind of pizza do you like, Jesse?
But luckily his savior came in the form of Walter White with a machine gun in his trunk to wipe out the neo-Nazi gang once and for all. But now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think Jesse went through while he was in captivity? Let me know down below in the comments, because I would love to hear what you guys think. But until then, my name is Merge. Later.